Do cats hate the World Cup? It's 8 p.m. Your team just scored the goal that could decide the match. You scream, you jump, you slam the table, and right then you see something you didn't expect. Your cat bolted out of the room like it saw a ghost. That wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't just because you made noise. What just happened to your cat has a scientific explanation almost nobody knows about, and it involves its hearing, its brain, and even its oldest survival instinct. Today, we're going to answer a question millions of cat owners ask themselves every 4 years, right around World Cup season. Do cats really hate soccer? Or is something much deeper going on inside their heads? Stick around until the end because point number 5 explains something no vet has ever told you about why your cat seems to predict when you're about to scream before you even do it. And before we start, think about this. Every 4 years during the World Cup, searches like, "Why does my cat get scared during soccer?" spike noticeably. This isn't some isolated quirk in your house. It's a pattern repeating across millions of homes at the same time, in every country and every language, and yet almost nobody has a complete answer. Today you're going to get one, point by point. To understand this, we first need to understand something that changes everything. A cat's hearing is nothing like yours. The average human hears sounds up to about 20,000 hertz. A cat can hear up to 64,000 hertz. That means a cat perceives frequencies you don't even know exist. Its ears were shaped by evolution to detect the high-pitched squeak of a mouse hidden meters away, not to tolerate the deep, prolonged roar of a stadium or a TV blasting at full volume. And here's the key thing almost nobody mentions. It's not just volume, it's unpredictability. Cats are animals that survived for millions of years by anticipating danger. Their brains are wired to react with more fear to a sudden, unexpected loud sound than to one that's loud but constant. A soccer match is the perfect combination of both. Silence, tension, and then a sudden explosion of screaming, horns, and applause that lasts seconds and disappears. To us, that's joy. To a cat's nervous system, it's an alarm signaling imminent danger. Here's another detail rarely explained well. Unlike dogs, cats didn't evolve as pack animals used to collective uproar. Dogs descend from animals that hunted in groups, that howled together, that associated shared noise with cooperation. Cats descend from a solitary hunter, the African wildcat, a species that survived precisely by avoiding any loud or chaotic situation, because noise meant competition, bigger predators, or direct danger. That evolutionary difference explains why, in the same house, during the same goal, the dog can bark excitedly right alongside its owner, while the cat disappears completely. It's not that one is more sensitive than the other. They're literally two different evolutionary histories reacting to the same stimulus in opposite ways. If this is surprising you, just wait until point 5, because there we're going to talk about something very few channels have explained well: how your cat can know a goal is coming before you even do. But before we go on, if you like videos where science explains the real behavior of the animals you have at home, subscribe to the channel. We post content like this consistently, and I promise what's coming in the next few minutes is going to change the way you look at your cat during any match. Now, let's keep going, because the next point has to do with something almost nobody associates with the World Cup: the colors and lights on the screen. Now, this is where most videos on this topic fall short. They say, cats don't like loud noises, and leave it at that. But that doesn't explain why some cats hide, others attack whatever's nearby, and others just freeze completely still for minutes. Animal behavior science identifies 3 distinct responses to acute stress, and a last-minute goal can trigger any one of them. First, flight. This is the most common. The cat runs to a high or enclosed spot, under the bed, on top of a closet, because it instinctively seeks a space that limits a supposed predator's angles of attack. Second, tonic immobility. Less well known, but it happens often. The cat goes completely still, almost like it shuts down. This isn't calm. It's a controlled shock state some animals use when they judge that fleeing is more dangerous than staying frozen. Third, redirected aggression. This is the one that confuses owners the most. Instead of fleeing, the cat attacks whatever's closest: a cushion, a curtain, even its owner's foot. It's not that the cat went crazy. It's that the adrenaline surge needs somewhere to go, and if there's no real threat to attack, it attacks the first thing that moves. What's interesting is that these three reactions are exactly the same ones wild felines use when facing a predator. Your cat, in your living room with the TV on, is running a survival program millions of years old. There's even a fourth reaction, less common but documented, that combines all three. The cat flees, hides, and from there keeps active watch over the room, peeking its head out every so often to monitor whether the danger has passed. If you've ever seen your cat peek out from under the couch minutes after a scream without fully coming out, that's exactly what's happening. Its brain is still in risk assessment mode, waiting for confirmation that the threat is over before fully exposing itself again. Here's a fact that surprises even vets themselves. Cats don't watch TV the way we do. For decades, it was thought cats were pretty much indifferent to screens, but studies on feline visual behavior show cats are especially sensitive to fast, erratic movement, more than to the image itself. A soccer match with players running back and forth, cameras constantly switching angles, and contrasting jersey colors produces exactly the kind of stimulus that triggers a cat's hunting attention. In other words, your cat isn't watching a soccer match. It's watching 22 colored blobs moving erratically in a pattern its brain interprets as potential prey, until the stadium noise suddenly breaks that illusion and turns it into a threat. That abrupt shift from possible prey to possible danger in a matter of seconds is part of what makes the experience so disorienting for the animal. It's not just noise, it's a full sensory conflict. Eyes saying hunt, ears saying flee. And this explains something you've probably seen if you have a cat. Why it stares fixedly at the screen for a few seconds before reacting. It's not enjoying the match. It's processing a contradiction between what it sees and what it hears. Here's another detail that reinforces this. Cats have much more sensitive peripheral motion vision than we do, but far less ability to make out fine detail and color. That means on screen, a cat doesn't really perceive a soccer match as an event that makes sense. It sees moving blobs, shifts in speed, flickers of light every time the camera cuts to a new angle. To its brain, it's a string of stimuli with no narrative, and that paradoxically can be even more unsettling than watching something that does make sense. It's impossible to anticipate what happens next. Now, there's a factor almost no video on this topic mentions, and it's actually one of the most important: smell. During a big match, the house changes completely. More people show up, there's different food, there's sweat, there's human anxiety concentrated in a small space. And here's the interesting part. Cats can detect changes in body odor linked to human stress, because cortisol, the stress hormone, is released partly through sweat and volatile compounds in the skin. That means a cat isn't just hearing your goal scream. Before that, it's already picking up on the fact that you, its trusted person, started sweating differently, moving differently, tensing up differently, minutes before the match reached its peak. For an animal whose sense of security is largely based on the emotional stability of its environment, sensing that its reference human is in a constant state of alertness is, in itself, a danger signal. The cat doesn't need to understand soccer, it just needs to smell that something in the house isn't normal. And this brings us right to the point I promised at the start of the video: how it's possible for some cats to seem to anticipate a goal seconds before it happens. The explanation has nothing supernatural about it, but it is one of the reasons the science of animal behavior has become so fascinating in recent years. Before we get to that, if you're finding this video interesting, drop a like. It helps a ton in growing the channel and in letting us keep bringing you this kind of content based on real evidence, not animal myths. What many owners interpret as their cat knowing something's about to happen is actually a well-documented phenomenon in behavioral biology, reading micro-expressions and micro-tension in body language. Cats, having lived so closely with humans for thousands of years of domestication, developed a remarkable ability to read extremely subtle changes in their owner's body language. The way you lean forward on the couch, how your breathing quickens, how you clench your fists or slightly raise your voice murmuring, "Come on, come on, come on," right before the goal. The cat isn't predicting soccer, it's predicting it's human. That instant of collective tension that builds seconds before a goal, when everyone in the room leans toward the screen in dead silence, is precisely the clearest signal a cat can pick up that something intense is about to happen. That's why so many cats leave the room right before the scream, not after. They're not reacting to the goal. They're reacting to the tension that precedes it. It's a reminder of something rather beautiful, really. Your cat watches you with a level of attention you probably never imagined. So, going back to the question in the title, do cats hate the World Cup? The honest answer, according to the science of feline behavior, is not exactly. Cats don't have the conceptual capacity to hate a sporting event. What they do have is a nervous system that's extremely sensitive to sudden changes in sound, movement, and concentrated human emotion. And the World Cup, with its screaming, its bursts of joy, and its tense nights, brings together exactly the ingredients that nervous system reads as an alarm. It's not rejection of soccer. It's a perfectly logical survival response, inherited from millions of years of evolution, triggered at the worst possible moment, right when you're happiest. And here's something important for any cat owner. During matches, giving your cat a quiet space, away from the direct noise of the screen, with access to a high or hidden spot, dramatically reduces that stress. It's not about giving up enjoying the match. It's about understanding that for your cat, that moment of collective euphoria can feel exactly like an emergency. Now that we understand why this happens, the logical question is, can anything be done about it? The answer is yes, and it doesn't require giving up the match. First, give your cat an escape zone before the game starts, not after. That means making accessible before kickoff a high, enclosed, or semi-hidden spot, a cat tree, a half-open closet, a quiet room, so the cat can choose to retreat there on its own instead of having to find that space in the middle of a full-blown panic. Second, avoid screaming right next to the cat as much as possible. It seems obvious, but many owners celebrate a goal with the cat in their arms or just inches away, without realizing that scream, at that distance, is for a cat's ears the equivalent of a stimulus several times more intense than what we ourselves perceive. And third, maybe the most important one, never scold or chase a cat that reacted with fear or aggression during a goal. Chasing it to calm it down or scolding it for scratching something in that moment only confirms, from the animal's perspective, that there really was a threat in the room. What actually helps is letting the cat come back on its own once the environment feels safe again, and rewarding that return with calm, not with excessive attention, and not with punishment. So the next time your cat bolts in the middle of a goal, you'll know it's not a whim or an overreaction. It's pure science, hearing, instinct, and millions of years of evolution all working at once, in a matter of seconds. If you made it this far, tell me in the comments how your cat reacts during matches. I'd love to read your stories. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, because every week we explore another mystery of animal behavior that science has already solved, but that almost nobody knows about. See you in the next video.